day everyone. Today we will be reporting about environmental hazards and human health. Risks are usually expressed as probability. A risk is the probability of suffering harm from a hazard that can cause injury, disease, death, economic loss, or damage. While probability is a mathematical statement about the likelihood that harm will be suffered from a hazard. For example, the lifetime probability of developing lung cancer from smoking 1 pack of cigarettes per day is 1 in 250. This means that 1 of every 200 people who smoke a pack of cigarettes every day will likely develop a lung cancer over a typical lifetime. So let's talk about risk assessment and risk management. Risk assessment is the process of using statistical method to estimate how much harm a particular hazard can cause to human health or to the environment. It helps us to establish priorities for avoiding or managing risk. While risk management involves deciding whether or how to reduce a particular risk to a certain level and at what cost. So in this figure, we can see we can differentiate the risk management and the risk assessment. Risk assessment, hazard identification. What is the hazard? Probability of risk, how likely is the event? Consequences of risk, what is the likely damage? For risk management, comparative risk analysis. How does it compare with other risk? Risk reduction. How much should it be reduced? Risk reduction strategy. How will the risk be reduced? And lastly, financial commitment. How much money should be spent? So, we face many types of hazards. First is the biological hazards. Biological hazards from more than 1,400 pathogens that can infect humans. A pathogen is an organism that can cause disease in another organism. An example of this are the bacteria, the viruses, parasites, protozoa, and fungi. Other chemical hazards are the following. Chemical hazards from harmful chemicals in the air, water, soil, food, and human-made products. Next, natural hazards such as fires, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, and storms. Cultural hazards such as unsafe working conditions, unsafe highways, criminal assault, and poverty. Lastly is the lifestyle choices such as smoking, making poor food choices, drinking too much alcohol, and having unsafe sex. So, types of biological hazards we face. Some diseases can spread from one person to another. An infectious disease is caused when a pathogen, such as bacterium, virus, or parasites, invades the body and multiply in its cells and tissues. For example, for the examples of infectious diseases are flu, malaria, tuberculosis, and measles. Next, bacteria are single-cell organisms that are found everywhere. Most are harmless or beneficial. A bacteria disease results from an infection as the bacteria multiply and spread throughout the body.
Types of biological hazard we face. Viruses are smaller than bacteria and work by invading a cell and taking over its genetic machinery to copy themselves. They then multiply and spread throughout one's body, causing a viral diseases such as flu or AIDS. transmissible disease. Contagious or communicable disease is an infectious bacterial or viral disease that can be transmitted from one person to another. Non-transmissible disease is caused by something other than a living organism and does not spread from one person to another. Example, cardiovascular or heart and blood vessels diseases, most cancers, asthma, and diabetes. In 1990, infectious disease was the leading cause of death in the world, greatly reduced by a better health care, the use antibiotic to treat infectious disease caused by bacteria, and the development of vaccines. Infectious diseases are still major health threats. Infectious disease remains a serious health threat, especially in less developed countries. Spread through air, water, food, and body fluids. A large-scale outbreak of an infectious disease in an area is called epidemic. A global epidemic, such as tuberculosis or AIDS, is called a pandemic. Many disease-carrying bacteria have developed genetic immunity to widely used antibiotics, and many disease-transmitting species of insects, such as mosquitoes, have become immune to widely used pesticides that once helped to control their population. Ways infection disease organism can enter the human body. So pets, livestock, wild animals, insects, food, water, and air. Disease, types of agent, and deaths per year. Pneumonia and flu have 3.2 million a year. HIV/AIDS, 1.8 million. Diarrheal diseases, 1.6 million. Tuberculosis, 1.3 million. Measles, 800,000. Malaria, 780,000. Hepatitis B, 600,000. Ways to prevent or reduce the incidence of infectious diseases. Increase research on tropical diseases and vaccines. Reduce poverty. Decrease malnutrition. Improve drinking water quality. Reduce unnecessary use of antibiotics. Educate people to take all of an antibiotic prescription. Reduce antibiotic use to promote livestock growth. Require careful hand washing by all medical personnel. Immunize children against major viral diseases. Provide oral rehydration for diarrhea victims, and conduct global campaign to reduce HIV and AIDS. So that would be all, ma'am.